That's what I use.
Right. I know.
We'll have somebody, hopefully that's what we'll do. We'll probably find out.
Yes. I have to see it. I admire you for doing it.
I can't say that, right? My capacity.
Just greater. Yeah. I was trying to get some notes. Well, I have one that's really good. I always think people think too bad. Yeah. I know it's one of the two, and it might be, but I think it's still 30 or that's hard to get out. And I took your advice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the February 11th, 2026 City Council meeting to order. There is nothing to report out of our closed session. Can we have Dr. Jana Karpinski-Costa do our pledge today?
Please join me in the pledging to the flag. Hand over heart, pledge.
All right, next item, please.
I will call the roll. Councilmember Karpinski-Costa,
Present.
Councilmember Nelson,
Present.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Present.
Vice Mayor Middleton,
Present.
and Mayor Lopez Taft.
Here. Next item, please.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. It is also live streamed at citrusheights.net. Today's meeting replays on Monday, February 16th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed on the city's YouTube channel.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Do I have a motion? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Do we need to take a roll call vote?
You don't need to.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, motion passes. We have an agenda. Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 4, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights proclaiming February 2026 as Black History Month.
Well, I am very, very excited to present this presentation today. We have the director of the Purple Pageant and several Purple Pageant participants here with us tonight. I'd like to welcome you to the podium. Feel free to come up. Lisa D. Taylor and some of her queens. Appreciate that. All right, so the way these proclamations go is we will read the proclamation, we'll hear from the recipient, and then we will take some photographs for the proclamation delivery. All right, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights proclaiming February 2026 as Black History Month. Whereas much of the City of Citrus Heights' strength and distinction can be attributed to the diversity of cultures and traditions that are celebrated by our community. And whereas this year, the theme of Black History Month is a century of Black history commemorations. This year's theme honors the 10th anniversary of National Black History Commemorations, which began as a week-long celebration and have grown into a month-long event observed nationally. And whereas African Americans have made significant and enduring contributions to our community by highlighting the impact of work, both past and present, in shaping the identity, culture, and economic status of our communities. And whereas, as a result of their determination, hard work, and perseverance, African Americans have earned exceptional success in all aspects of society, and their impact extends globally, including in business, education, politics, science, and the arts. And whereas Black History Month provides an opportunity to deepen understanding, promote education, and encourage meaningful dialogue about the historical experiences of African Americans and their continued influence on shaping a more inclusive and equitable society. And whereas recognizing Black history strengthens our community by fostering mutual respect, cultural awareness, and civic pride, while honoring the individuals whose leadership, creativity, and resilience continue to inspire future generations. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights hereby proclaims the month of February 2026 as Black History Month and invites everyone to observe this month in celebration of diversity in our community and to highlight the importance of sharing our culture, customs, and traditions with those around us. Before I have our recipients speak, I wanted to give everyone an idea as to why I wanted Miss Lisa and the Purple Pageant to receive this particular proclamation. I've known Miss Lisa D. for several years, and you know the work that you've continued to do through the Purple Pageant in empowering, educating, and encouraging young women and young men in our community has been very inspirational to me. And so when I was asked if we had an organization that we'd like to receive this, I could only think of you and your organization. So I'm very honored to give this proclamation to you.
Thank you, Jane.
Feel free, if you have a few words, introduce us to your local queens, and if you'd like to say a few words, please do so. Yes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. I'm very honored. I am Mrs. Purple Pageant 2025.
And your name?
And my name is Carol Ali Raybon. Sorry.
Good job.
Good evening, and thank you on behalf of the Purple Pageant. I am Ebony Hall, Mrs. Duchess 2023, 24, and 25. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Miss Classic Woman 2025, Miss Diamond 2022, and an alumni 2023. And thank you on behalf of the Purple Pageant. My name is Tanya Randolph.
My name is Lisa D., and I am the Queen Director of the Purple Pageant. And this year, we are honored to say is our 10th year anniversary. So we're going to keep on going.
All right, do I have any comments from my fellow council members? Otherwise, we will go ahead and take our picture. Thank you.
Thank you. So we can take a picture.
This is the most aesthetic photo ever.
Thank you, everyone. Next item, please.
Next item is public comment. Members of the public may address the city council during the meeting. We ask that you please fill out a speaker sheet and give it to the city clerk. When you're called upon to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the mayor has the discretion to adjust the allotted time. There is a countdown display that will flash red at the end of the allotted time. Consistent with the Brown Act, the council is prohibited from engaging in a discussion or taking action on any item not appearing on the agenda. And Madam Mayor, for this portion, I have 4 speaker cards and 1 written public comment.
All right, let's have the first speaker.
I'd like to call first Josh Gumakal. Following Josh will be Charles Stone.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager and Clerk, and everyone else in the room. My name is Josh Gumakal. I am a field representative for Congressman Ami Bera's office. I know the Congressman wanted to be here today, but he's currently back in D.C. However, I'm happy to be here on his behalf. Just last week, Congressman Bera introduced a bipartisan resolution in the House of Representatives designating the first Saturday after the spring equinox, March 21st, as the National Day of Play. We're excited to see that the county and cities, including Citrus Heights tonight, are taking up their own Day of Play resolutions. Day of Play can be defined however you want it to be. It can be practicing your faith. It can be going to a park. It can be playing a sport or volunteering at a local organization. At a time where many people are facing an epidemic of loneliness, social isolation, and at a time where, at least for myself, and I think we can all speak for it, is that we spend a lot more time in our lives on these devices, that this resolution encourages people to get off their devices and connect with their community, their friends, their family, and their friends, family, and community. We're just really excited that City of Citrus Heights brought this forward, and we look forward to seeing you all on March 21st for the National Day of Play. Thank you.
What have you got scheduled for the 21st? Anything?
So for us, actually, we wanted to leave it up to the cities and our communities. Every community is going to have different priorities, different amenities, different things that they like to do around the community. I know for here, at least, I was talking to someone earlier that if I was in Citrus Heights, you can probably find me March 21st at a bowling alley, probably just a little close to here. But we hope to see every community have their own events and kind of enjoy the day together wherever and however that might be.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, Charles Stone, all right?
Yes, give me 1 second. Madam Mayor, City Council, my name is Charles Stone. I'm the commander for American Legion Post 637. I'm here with Richard Teacott, our Sergeant of Arms, and our Finance Officer, Mike Karam, to talk about 2 different events that we have going on. The first event is a Veterans Picnic. We have done this every year to help veterans in our area, make sure they have the resources that are available. We are partnering with the DAR and the Women's Club for this. That is going to be on April 18th, and I will leave these out in the back. Our second event is a flag retirement ceremony, and that is being done by Richard Teacott. Richard, go ahead and tell us about that.
Yes, my name is Richard Teacott, and on February 18th, next Wednesday, we're going to have a flag retirement ceremony over at Sylvan Park, or Rush Park, I'm sorry. We're happy to have anybody that has any soiled or non-serviceable flags brought over, and we'll dispose of them according to the proper procedures. We're welcoming anybody that has any flags that they want to dispose of. We'll take care of them. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question for Charles.
Yes.
Are you still going to do the Battle of the Bands this year?
Yes, that is one of our events that we do every year, the Battle
You got
of the
a date?
Bands.
Have you got a date for that yet?
It'll be September, I think it's the 12th, September 12th. Since we're doing the POW, the Power of We are partnering with DAR, the Women's Group, the Purple Pageant, a lot of groups within our city to make sure that we're one city helping our veterans. And we're very fortunate that we have a lot of groups helping out.
We just got everything in our calendars because things are coming up also.
Oh, yeah.
Can I point something out? It's amazing that all this, my husband is a member of your American Legion, and we get the American Legion magazine. And one of the articles in this month's magazine is about loneliness, just on point with Ami Bera's resolution. And it's in our consent calendar, but it's the number of people are amazing, the number of people that describe themselves as lonely. And what Josh said, with the devices and everything. So it's a wonderful little magazine. If you read your little article, it's a kind of goes in play with all of the things on tonight's agenda and everything.
On that specific topic, there have roughly been about 18 suicidal veterans a day. Our post has been doing a lot here, especially with Steve Gall, who's not here tonight, helping out as our service officer, reaching out to as many vets as possible. And we've been very fortunate in the last year. I haven't heard of any veteran suicide within our city within this last year. But the loneliness epidemic is a problem. And through all the guys here, the Purple Pageant, the Women's Auxiliary, beyond that, DAR, we have been helping to affect that loneliness by bringing them in to find things to do and helping them find purpose in different activities that they want with other people.
We have one more question. Councilmember Schaefer.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, I think I have 8 flags, and I often retire them, and I save them up for exactly this kind of event.
Yes. If you want to bring them out to Rush Park on the 18th at approximately 5 o'clock, we'll take care of them for you.
All right, thank you. Great.
And we will go and leave these in the back for people as well.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Lisa Sanchez. Following Lisa will be Randy Smith.
Hello, my name is Lisa Sanchez, and I am here to introduce a fantastic group of volunteers with the River City Waterway Alliance. We are a nonprofit organization that has been working to clean, restore, and protect the health and wellness of our local waterways officially for the last 3 years, removing almost 3.7 million pounds of trash, just under 27,000 used syringes. We've held 990 cleanup events and have donated almost 34,000 volunteer hours. Yes, in only 3 years. We want to bring awareness to the hidden issue regarding the health of the creeks within Citrus Heights. We're working to restore Arcade Creek for the last year, finally reaching into the Citrus Heights section. We have found the same type of debris in Citrus Heights that we found in the city of Sacramento and Sacramento County. Shopping carts, strollers, tents, sleeping bags, mattresses, pallets, tires, clothes, and more smother this creek. Not to mention the used syringes that we've found. One example would be Stock Ranch Nature Preserve. The area is beautifully maintained with a wonderful nature area walking paths, but the creek was filled with trash, requiring 7 cleanups so far for us to remove what we have found. This is problematic for a number of reasons. Not only does it negatively impact the wildlife and invertebrates that rely on these ecosystems to survive, it reduces the water flow capacity that is necessary to divert water away from the streets, homes, and neighborhoods during flooding. It is a blight to our natural habitat areas, and it contaminates our drinking water that the local agencies actually use. We have been working with Armando with the Department of General Services, who has been absolutely wonderful with disposing of what we remove from the creek, and we love this partnership. There hasn't been a pile too big, too wet, too muddy, that they haven't been able to take care of for us, and we want to give him and his crew a big thank you for their support. We also have been fortunate to have the partnership of Republic Services. Megan reached out to us, offering a large dumpster, trash disposal, food and refreshments, as well as volunteers from their office. We recognize that it is important to keep open meadows and natural spaces clean, but the creeks that run through these natural spaces are ignored. We would like the city of Citrus Heights to provide more attention and resources to the creeks within your jurisdiction, to be more proactive with enforcing no camping in and around the waterways, and to create a process that would remove the trash and debris that is found within the creeks. They need your love. We know that Citrus Heights takes pride in their community: clean streets, clean parks, and clean public spaces. We would like to have clean creeks too. We will be celebrating our 1,000th event next week, so we encourage you to come to celebrate with us. And thank you for your time, and I wanted to point out a number of our volunteers that are here to represent River City Waterway Alliance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our next speaker, please.
Next is Randy Smith.
Good evening, Council. My name is Randy Smith. I'm not a resident of Citrus Heights. I've lived down Arcade Creek since the 1950s. I used to ride my horse up Arcade Creek into what is now Citrus Heights. I love the creek, growing up as a child and as an adult. So I have joined this wonderful group and all of the amazing work that they have been doing. Living downstream, I watch all the debris that washes down from upstream, and been cleaning a lot of that. And for this past year, we've been working here in Citrus Heights, up from Greenback Lane, and then up Indian River, and then Matheny, and on up Auburn Boulevard, and Van Maren, and then into Crosswoods, where I used to ride my horse. I've been talking with residents as we're cleaning. We talk to the business owners, the residents that join the creek, and we hear their stories of the problems they have with encampments that are in their area. And I'd like to have a meeting with many of those property owners, business owners, residents, with some of the city council members, if possible, in District 1 and in District 3, where we're working, to include Sylvan Oaks Library. I've talked with the manager there, and to have a public room, one of their public rooms, so we can hold a meeting and have the residents come, including the Sunrise Park and Recreation District, including a member from police and Citrus Heights Police, and Oh golly, there's a list of others that, that would like to do that. So I would like to, moving forward, talk with Kelsey Nelson and with Tim Schaefer to see if, how we can proceed with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Danielle, did we have another speaker?
We have a written public comment.
All
I'll go
right.
ahead and read that.
Yeah.
This is a written comment from Bethany Brown. I continue to urge Citrus Heights City Council to adopt or reaffirm legislation that would designate our city as a sanctuary for all who live here. In addition, I urge you to update the Citrus Heights website to include answers to frequently asked questions regarding immigration and constitutional rights, resources for immigrants, refugees, protesters, and observers, as well as a clear messaging from Citrus Heights Police Department regarding their role in immigration enforcement and whether or not they will ask for immigration status or report immigration status to DHS. I look forward to seeing these issues addressed on future council meeting agendas. Thank you for your consideration and your commitment to ensuring the safety of our community.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
All right, let's start with Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few events to list off here that I've attended since last meeting. On January 30th, I attended the State of Public Safety by the Sacramento DA Tin Ho down at McKinley Park. Very informative how his office has been proactive in prosecuting criminals throughout the county. So that was an optimistic meeting. And then on the 2nd of this month, I attended the Arts and Culture Subcommittee 2x2, where we reviewed some of the grant applications that we'll be looking at later today. And then last night, I attended the Chant meeting, which is Area 3 here in the city, the neighborhood area. They meet right here at City Hall in the community room, just across the hallway here, the second Tuesday of every month. So if you're in Area 3, join us at that meeting. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Jana Karpinski-Costa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last Thursday, wonderful event right here at City Hall by the Citrus Heights Historical Society. History of Citrus Heights you never knew, and it was some amazing photographs of when Citrus Heights back in the 1800s, early 1900s, just some incredible stuff. So anyway, they're free. They offer them quarterly. I think the next one is about cityhood. My recollection is for the next one. I did go to the Rotary Crab Feed, if you forgot to mention that one. And that's nice. It benefits our local Rotarians. And then today I went to the sewer meeting, and it was a really 20-minute meeting, but enough to know that we have a program where we go septic to sewer. You know, it's hard to believe that there's still areas of Sacramento County where people are still on septic tanks. And so we do have a system where we use non-ratepayer funds to swap them out to be in the sewer system. And so we got a national award for that project. And so I'm proud of our little district for doing that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Schaefer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. So on this past Monday, and first I want to just express my apology for, on the 27th, I was supposed to speak at the Area 4 meeting. I've gone through a recent health scare, and that was right at the peak of it. It really slipped my mind that I was supposed to speak there, so I apologize for missing that meeting. The health scare that I've had is that I've been diagnosed with leukemia. It's what called hairy cell leukemia. It's a very survivable concern, and I plan on being around a long, long time. I'm not going to resign. I just want to be upfront with folks and say, yes, I've missed a few meetings. due to this, but I'm going to be okay, start chemo here in the next week or so, and I look forward to being here for a really long time. That being said, on Monday, I attended remotely the SACOG Policy and Innovation Committee meeting where we heard we decided on retaining our Politico, which is our political consultant in Washington, D.C. Really some very positive thoughts there and progress that we're making with the federal government. And then on Monday night, I had a SAC-RT board meeting. Really kind of SAC-RT has discontinued their contract with the Sacramento Police Department and has retained an agreement with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. The idea is to improve safety and spread officers throughout the system, so we have a really safe system. And we're really looking forward to that. We've had to take some measures to put emergency enclosures in buses to protect bus drivers, and bolstering that with having Sacramento County sheriffs on duty on the transit lines will help a lot. So, and we certainly have some really positive and some interesting projects coming down the pike, which I will be apprising you of. Just wanted to mention on the former mayor's behalf, the SAC-RT Flex. So our area for SAC-RT Flex, one of the qualifications, if you're over 62, you can qualify for getting, it's an Uber-type service. Our former mayor has used it multiple times.
No, one time, but it was worth it. It was.
All right, so, but it's a really nice van, it's really nicely set up. They have drivers in our area, so if you were to summon a ride, which you can only summon a ride if you're qualified for the program, so you have to go online and sign up for it, and then you can summon a ride. But our area goes from like I-80 all the way to Folsom. You can take the SAC-RT Flex up to the medical center up in Roseville. So it's a really important service, and it's still only $2.50 a ride.
They pick you up at your door, drop you off at your destination, take you back home for $2.50 each direction.
Yeah, and that program saves over Smart Ride. That program saves SAC-RT $7 million a year. So that's a really, really great thing. So anyhow, with that, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, Vice Mayor Middleton.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. I was attending the Art 2x2 with Councilmember Nelson. I also attended the DA's State of Public Safety, and some of the statistics we saw was just absolutely shocking. And I'm so glad that he's making such great progress in keeping our entire county safe. And on the 7th, I went to fill the boot. I was out there. I took my annual $100 donation and threw it in the boot and ran off, because they have the reporters out there, and they're trying to raise the money and see which reporter from our local stations can raise the most money. I have my favorite reporter, not going to say who, and I make sure that I make that contribution because my brother is a firefighter in Gardnerville in Nevada, and it's really important that we support those youth or individuals who end up having, these horrific burns and need support at UC Davis.
All right, I guess it's my turn. It seemed like this last 2 weeks was all about Big Day of Service. On the 29th, I kicked off by going to the first large planning meeting for Big Day of Service. That is happening on Saturday, May 16th. If you would like to attend, we had the second meeting last evening, but there is still time to join the fun. If you would like to attend the next planning meeting, that's March 10th. And they all happen at 5:30 at Sunrise Community Church. I also have been meeting with our co-captains here for the City of Citrus Heights, Carol and Steve Balco. They were our original captains for the projects for Big Day of Service, and what that means, now there are 3 of us, that means we are managing and promoting all the projects in Citrus Heights, making recommendations for sponsorships, and finding volunteer forces to, again, join the fun. And it's a wonderful time, for this group who are also doing our creek cleanups. If you'd like to maybe have a project that day, or any one of our community organizations, it's a great day to highlight and capitalize on all of the publicity that surrounds this particular activity. It includes, for those of you who aren't aware, it now includes Citrus Heights, Orangevale, and Fair Oaks. And so there is a lot of publicity that surrounds this particular effort, because it is a one-day volunteer activity. As mentioned by the Vice Mayor, I also attended the Fill the Boot kickoff event, and according to her recommendation, I needed to remember to bring the plaque. So we have a thank you plaque from the Byrne Institute. We have had them on that particular corner of Sunrise and Greenback from their reports for 32 years. And so we have been a partner to an absolutely amazing and wonderful organization that does the hard work of supporting those firefighters who incur burns. Attended the Rotary Crab Feed. I've attended several ribbon cuttings, but the one I attended this week was unique in all the ways. It had complete with lion dancers and firecrackers and fireworks and everything. So it was very exciting. Gateway Nails and Spa. It is a nail spa near Food Max, and it is completing that strip area right next to Starbucks, with also a food restaurant next to it. So if you have an occasion to stop by and patronize a new location, please do so. I attended the Cal City Sac Valley Division Board meeting. I'm now on the board of the group that discusses issues that affect cities in the greater Sacramento Valley region. And I'm also serving as the Environmental Quality Policy Commission representative from our division board. And so that is a very good meeting to attend. I very much care for the environment, and a lot of the issues are really big issues. And so when we discuss them at the city level, it's really with the intention to speak back to our legislators about what concerns us and what affects us here in our city. So I love it when I see folks who are concerned about the water, or concerned about the air, concerned about the environment, so we can talk back to our legislators at the state level. And with that, we'll have our next item. Thank you, everyone.
Next item is the consent calendar, item 5, support for annual designation of the first Saturday after the spring equinox as National Day of Play. Item 6, updated housing rehabilitation program guidelines to incorporate the permanent local housing allocation as a funding source. And item 7 is the quarterly treasurer's report.
All right, are there any requests to pull items? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have a consent calendar. Okay, next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item 8, history and arts grants requests, committee recommendation for approval. And the recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving the history and arts grant requests.
Good evening, Council. I'm Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director. I'll keep the introduction and summary for this item brief, so that I can reserve the time for the grant requestees who are here this evening to give presentations. In summary, the City of Citrus Heights offers a history and arts grant to promote arts and historic preservation in our city. We received 2 requests. The grant program is first come, first serve. The first request was from Royal Stage, a theater operating in our Sunrise Mall in Citrus Heights. The second request was from the Citrus Heights Veterans Memorial Project. And as I said, representatives are here this evening. Both requests meet the guidelines of the program, and that review was brought first to the City Council Arts and Culture Committee, who recommended approval, and it's before you this evening. So with that, I would like to introduce Tiffany with Royal Stage to come up and say a few words.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name is Tiffany Corona, and I've been involved with Royal Stage for about 4 years now. I have absolutely loved it. I've met amazing, amazing people. They put on incredible shows. They invite everyone to attend. Everyone is accepted. Everyone can audition and be in a show, and everybody gets a role. They also provide a wide variety of arts and dance classes. And it's just an incredible community. And as Megan said, we do perform in the Sunrise Mall, which has been really fun to see a lot more community members come out and support us. And we are very thankful to the city for its support.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Do we have any comments or questions? All right, thank you.
And next up, I would like to introduce Kermit and Scott with the Citrus Heights Veteran Memorial Project with a presentation.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Kermit Schultz. I'm founding board member for the Citrus Heights Veterans Memorial Project. I want to first express my sincere appreciation for this council's support, as well as your staff, for this project. Since the fall of 2022 is when the city got involved. The help all of you provided brought the wall that heals to Rush Park at the end of March in 2023. Also want to thank you for the financial support for the Citrus Heights Veterans Memorial Project you approved last year, and thank you for your consideration to do even more this evening. I and so many veterans like myself appreciate it so very much. Our board's first part of this project, as you probably know, will be a 95% exact replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in our nation's capital. It'll be located at Calvary Cemetery and Funeral Home here in Citrus Heights. Our board's chairman, Scott Miller, is going to provide you with an update on our progress in a moment, so I'm going to be brief. I wanted to share the number of reasons with you and the community at large why my attachment to this project is so profound and a passion project of mine. Many Vietnam veterans, such as myself, have names on the wall. The largest battle my unit was involved in occurred on February 22nd, 1969. It's hard to believe it was nearly 57 years ago. The 22nd will make 57 years. So us Vietnam vets were getting on in age, getting long in the tooth and no longer flat-bellied and cut. If we have hair, it's gray. The 69 was much like the 1968 Tet Offensive. The entire country of Vietnam was attacked by the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong. The total names of the very young men on the wall that were lost that evening, a matter of 12 hours or so, and the next morning throughout the country is 1,072, just in those 12 hours. There's all kinds of stories about the different panels that have a history of what occurred, all in numerical order, dates of death, so that's what the panels. The base camp I was at was overrun, and the total loss there that evening was 33 men, young men, 19, 21 years old. All 33 of them can be found on panel 31 and 32 West. I've had the privilege of carrying that panel and setting it up. Those are the ones that I remember, and they're my reasons for my involvement. Some I knew, some I did not. But in the nearly 44 years since the dedication of the wall in Washington, Along with the traveling wall, I have gotten to know them all quite a bit better. Names, hometowns, missed birthdays, and families. The wall truly does help heal the wounds of war. Excuse me. Especially those wounds that you cannot see that were inflicted there, as well as some that were inflicted here at home. It's my hope that all of us in this room this evening will keep that in mind as this project becomes a reality with the help from this council and this community. Thank you again for your consideration, and thank you to the Vietnam vets that are here this evening in support. Scott Miller.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I'm Scott Miller. I'm the chair of the board for the Citrus Heights Veterans Memorial Project. I cannot speak to the passion nearly as eloquently as Kermit can and with his experiences, but do want to share a bit of an update with the council of where we're at in our partnership along with Catholic Funeral and Cemetery Services to build the replica wall at Calvary Cemetery. If we could go back one. So like Kermit said, this is a passion project. We were here in October of 2024, first presenting this and entering into the MOU with the city. Since then, a lot of work has occurred. And so on this slide is the rendering of what the wall is actually going to look like at Calvary Cemetery. So we wanted to be able to share that with you and the community this evening. As said before, the wall is going to be constructed at Calvary Cemetery. And we do have a visual for those who may not be familiar with it. It's going to front eastbound Interstate 80 and be totally open in view. It will be at the cemetery, open 365 days a year to anybody wishing to visit. So originally, we were looking to construct a wall that was scaled somewhere in the range of 75 to 80% of the wall in DC. We've worked very hard with our architects and engineers and have been able to scale that up to 95%. We tried very hard to get to 100%, but unfortunately, the size of the location for the wall and drainage issues on the property just prevented us from getting to 100%. But if someone can look at it and tell me it's 8 inches shorter than DC, more power to them. So it's essentially an exact replica. We had shared with the council a year and a half ago, it was very important to us based on our research to make sure that all the names were engraved and not etched so that families could do pencil rubbings themselves, and we've been able to achieve that. Through the size of the wall and working with our stone supplier, all names will now be engraved. So over that time, we've been working on our construction plans. We got everything completed, everything submitted to the city. The city manager and his staff did a great job and a very fast job, I think, at working with the architects and engineers to get those plans approved. And we are essentially ready now to pull a building permit as soon as we have all the funding in place. We've selected a granite supplier. We have multiple contractors that we've engaged and are on board to help with this project now at reduced costs. We've finalized our project budget, so we know exactly what our fundraising needs are going forward. And as a board, we established a separate fundraising committee. It has 6 members on that committee. Well, 5 in a vacancy. 5 in a vacancy we're looking to fill if anybody has extra time on their hands. But that's their sole purpose, is focused on fundraising to complete this project for us. So efforts to date, just to share with the council and the community, the activities that our board has been undertaking. We've done multiple presentations with various organizations in the community, kind of the Sacramento general area and South Placer County as well. So we've presented to 4 different VFW chapters, 4 Knights of Columbus councils and assemblies. We've been to the Sacramento County Veterans Advisory Commission and presented this project to them, as well as the Placer County Veterans Advisory Council. And we had members of our board go to Visalia earlier in the year to the California American Legion Convention. We had a booth there and presented this project to the hundreds of veterans who attend that event. Individually, members of our board, as well as members of city staff, met with and gave presentations to Congressman Bera, Senator Nilo, Senator Archuleta, who also chairs the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee at the state, Assemblymember Hoover and Patterson, as well as Sacramento County Supervisor Rich Desmond, and then various private citizens who at this time will remain anonymous, so to speak, but folks who are looking to make significant private contributions to this project. So we had some private one-on-one meetings with them at the location. We've also been trying to get the word out through media. With our MOU, we got some good press with that, with Channel 13 and KCRA 3. Additionally, a few of us were on the John McGinnis Show about a year ago, kind of trying to promote the project, and we have the sheriff's support on that. We hosted a car show, which got some good coverage with KCRA 3, and the Citrus Heights Sentinel newspaper has done a great job at writing several articles about the project. We even had an article written down in the San Joaquin Valley, the newspaper that serves Los Banos, Fireball, Dos Palos, that area. The West Side Express also wrote an article of what we were doing here and encouraging folks to donate to this project, as it really is a statewide monument that will be there for people to travel to. And so they were helping us spread the word outside of this specific area. We've also attended quite a few events, hosted events, and had booths at different events. We were at the Citrus Heights Rotary Crab Feed last year, where we were their sponsored project for their Funda project. We had folks at various regional car shows, as well as a booth at Hot August Nights last year, drumming up support, which also raised a decent amount of money. We hosted a car show here in Citrus Heights in October, which was a huge success. Again, had some media coverage with that. And it also attended various, chamber office openings. We sponsored the St. Rose Knights of Columbus golf tournament as a way to get the word out, which actually resulted in our newspaper article down in the valley. There was an attendee there who writes for that paper. And myself and Kermit also attended the American Canyon construction of the wall that heals for their community, and then used that opportunity to promote what we were doing here as well. So a lot of activity over the last year, to say the least. To give a bit of an update then on where we're at, so Oregon Memorial Stone is the supplier that we selected for the granite. We reached out to multiple nationwide vendors, got various bids. The highest bid for the granite being $1.2 million. Oregon Memorial is a veteran-owned business. They're based up in Oregon in the Portland area. They came forward with basically cost, their exact cost. That is going to be, to us, about $445,000. Compare that to the high bid of $1.2 million. They said if this would have been a commercial-esque project, a parks project, something of that nature, their bid would have come in between $750,000 and $800,000. So this is truly at cost. And at their expense, they're ordering additional panels that, should anything break in transit, we will have granite panels on site that can be engraved and put on the wall so that we don't have to have any type of delay if, unfortunately, there's some sort of an incident that occurs. We also reached out to several local contractors and statewide contractors to solicit their support and see what folks could do. And we met with those contractors. We identified 4 specific contractors in September, provided them with our construction plans to see what they could do for support. That's Lund Construction, an all-phase construction here in Citrus Heights, LCS Construction, which is out of San Jose, and Precita Landscape Construction based in Sacramento. They were all on board to be with this project. They loved everything about it, wanted to participate in it, and they jointly worked together to come up with various bids to get this project completed, which brings us to our budget to share with all of you. So we also engaged Jackson Construction as kind of a third-party independent look at what it would take to complete this project. So the engineering estimate for a project of this scale came in at just about $7.6 million. To date, we have committed through land and time and talent of engineers and architects and contractors. We have $4.4 million to date committed to this project, in addition to the cash that we have been able to fundraise over the last year and a half. This leaves about 3.1 million to fill, but that also includes a $500,000 endowment care fund that we've all agreed to so that we can maintain this wall into the future, and that funding would never be an issue for that. So sources of our funding, definitely different civic organizations. We've been very fortunate with some of the different Knights of Columbus groups, Rotary groups, and VFW groups. They were in positions to write very large checks to help us get this off the ground, as well as the prior grant from the city and a grant from the county. We have numerous private donors who've made smaller contributions, corporate donors, and of course our contractors and suppliers. In addition to that, we do feel we can probably carve about another $250,000 to $300,000 off of this project once we actually have a construction schedule and a groundbreaking, because then we can get a little more aggressive with suppliers and they can get a little more aggressive with their pricing, knowing what they would be providing to us at that particular time versus trying to estimate what something might be in the future. So in all, that's kind of the update of where we're at. We definitely appreciate the city and the council for entertaining our grant request to keep this project moving ahead. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with the city. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, do we have any questions?
I got a small one. How much have you raised so far?
So far in cash, we've raised just about $250,000, but we also have the commitments and contributions at $4.4 million.
So you're almost there.
We're getting very close. Still a long way, but it feels a lot closer than it did a year and a half ago, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes?
So,
Councilmember Schaefer.
way back when you kind of first started this, I thought it was around, it was gonna cost around 3 million or so. Are you anticipating, now it's up to 7 million, 7.6 million, are you anticipating that the longer it goes on, the higher the price is gonna go up? And how are you gonna contend with that? It
So-
seems like the goalposts are moving.
Not necessarily. I think a year and a half ago, it was our intent that this project was going to cost us about $3 million, our cost. The value of the project is the $7.6 million. So that needle really hasn't changed for us. We've been pretty much on track with what we thought we would get in contributions from suppliers and from different vendors, different contractors to bring that cost down. So it has gone up. I think our original estimate internally was somewhere around 2.8 million. Now we're at about 3.1, but we've also increased the size of the wall and the project from a 75% scaled project up to a 95%. So of course that has some increased costs with it as well. Tariffs do play into that a bit, but that's out of our control. We'll just see where tariffs are at, when we actually place an order for granite and other commodities. But I think we're pretty much in line with where we thought we would be a year and a half ago.
Thank you.
I just think this is an incredible project in our community, so I thank you for, it looks like you've done your due diligence in all of the efforts, and it's incredible to see partners, professional partners coming to help you out on this project, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much.
So council, the recommendation is to approve both grant requests. The fiscal impact was reviewed in the staff report. There is grant funding available, and I'm also happy to answer any questions about guidelines or the requests themselves.
Do we have questions?
Let me ask a question. How much is left in the fund for, you said it's still good till July, the application process?
Yes, our cumulative grant funding is available through June 30 of this year.
And how much is in the fund left?
This would fully expend the History and Arts grant funding. The recommendation is to use that $20,000 allocation for the Wall That Heals project. And then if you recall, there was an under allocation for our annual nonprofit funding awards, and there was about $17,000 in grant funding available there. And the recommendation is to use $5 from that sub bucket for the Royal Stage grant request.
So does that leave 12 left for?
That leaves 12, and as long as we're talking about grant funding availability, we also have funding for neighborhood improvement partnership requests, community project grant requests, and a variety of economic development requests.
Okay. Don't want to deplete the funds.
All right, any other questions or comments for Megan?
Yeah, do you have a motion, Megan?
The motion would be to approve both grant requests.
Before we do that, let me go ahead and ask, are there any public comments on this item?
We have no requests.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we will entertain a motion.
I will move approval to fund both charities.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar item number 9, second reading, ordinance establishing commercial property reoccupancy program. The recommendation is to adopt an ordinance adding Chapter 52 to the Citrus Heights Municipal Code to establish a commercial property reoccupancy program.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Casey Kempenar, your Community Development Director. Pleasure to be here tonight. As the council will recall, at the last council meeting, we did a fairly robust presentation about the commercial property reoccupancy ordinance, including the why behind it and the history of how we got here. Ultimately, at that meeting, the council approved the first reading and directed us to proceed with the second reading. Shortly after the council's decision, we did receive information that some of our notification to stakeholders did not reach all of them. As a result, we are recommending that we do this on public as a regular calendar item. Normally, this would be on consent for a second reading. On January 29th, an email was sent out to all the stakeholders that had not heard, and we reminded them that the second reading would be tonight. Any comments that have been received prior to publication were included in the packet. I know you received an email this afternoon as well, so that all that information should be contained and the council should have. So just a reminder, this stems from one of the council's strategic objectives from almost a year ago now, and that focus is to build on our success on addressing blight. And the objective seen here is to develop a ordinance to help for cost recovery for the challenges that we have with vacant buildings and present that for council's review and consideration. And just a recap of why this is important, we have code enforcement that can react. We want to prevent buildings from getting to a condition where they have problems and they're not leasable again. So the focus of this is being preventive, preventing buildings from getting vandalized or destroyed and making them much more difficult to get new tenants in. So that's the entire focus of this, to build on the blight success we've had on the public realm and bringing that into the private sector. And really, this is comprised of 3 main steps: registration, monitoring, and the fees associated to operate the program. And we really wanted to make sure the program was as pain-free as possible, so we spent a fair amount of time, and I went over this application with you at the last meeting, but really just highlighting how simple this is to get registered if you have a vacant property. You'll probably recognize that it looks very similar to like a business license application. We're just asking for basic information from the building owner, the property owner, to fill out, their address, when it was last occupied, the person we need to get a hold of in case there's a problem, or if they're interested in getting it leased, connecting them with our economic development team. Page also has a slide portion here which helps confirm that they're complying with the ordinance. They have a working alarm system. If they have sprinklers, they're working, so we prevent those buildings from being damaged in the future.
Can I ask a question while he's going, so why you have that up there? So is there a spot here, because I can't see from here to here, is there a spot where they can say, I am exempt?
If they're exempt, they wouldn't have to go through the process at all.
They don't even have to fill this out?
No, correct.
Oh, okay.
This, I'll get on the next slide, talk about some of the exemptions that we built into the ordinance. We really wanted to make sure that those folks, that their properties are well-maintained and we're not having challenges with, even if they're vacant and they're well-maintained, there's not an overly burdensome process for them to go to. We wanted them registered so we knew who to talk to in the event of an emergency or if we connect them with economic development folks, but really try to keep it a streamlined process. Also, this application shown here is a static application. It will ultimately be on our website, and that website will be dynamic. So the bottom of the screen here, you can see if you have multiple properties, it'll pop up and you can plug in information for your multiple properties, so it's really streamlined. Obviously, this is just a snippet of what it could look like, and our goal is to keep it as streamlined as possible. So year after year, if they have long-term vacancies that they're not having to fill out all this information again, they can just kind of make sure everything's accurate and move it forward. So we had a really robust outreach program as part of this. As you saw last meeting, over the last year, we really had a variety of outreach opportunities. We had a couple of workshops. We had met with the Chamber of Commerce. We had met with the Sunrise Marketplace 3 times and walked through a lot of concerns that we heard from those various stakeholders to make sure that this ordinance was right fit for Citrus Heights. So I'll just kind of walk through some of those changes and iterations that we did to respond to the feedback we had received. The first portion was related to registration timeline. When we first wrote the ordinance, we said, okay, within 30 days, you need to be able to register your property once that vacancy occurs. We heard feedback, we need a little bit more time to do that, so we bumped that up to 60 days. Also, what we heard was some of the requirements related to signage. You have to post a sign on the building to know who to get a hold of. And that had a little bit of information related to the address of the person's office if they were not on site, and that raised some concerns about privacy, so we modified that so it's only the phone number and some basic information. We also heard feedback from stakeholders that the ordinance would penalize owners with well-maintained properties. Originally, there was a carve-out for if you have at least 75% occupied, but instead we made it so if it's really simple. If you are well-maintained and you do not have any problems, you are exempt from the monitoring fees. So you fill out the form, you keep your building up, there's no other costs associated with that. So that really helped address some of those concerns. We heard that if you have multiple properties, it can be burdensome. And as I showed you on the application on the last slide, it's going to be really dynamic where you can fill out, if you have multiple properties, it's a one-stop shop. One of the big things we heard that we made in the final version that you considered last week was related to offices. We know that offices have churn as they're not always fully leased, and so there's a lot of turnover, and so we had a lot of concern from stakeholders that, maybe offices should be excluded. And so we built in a provision in this that offices that are over 50% leased and have no active code violations are exempt from the ordinance altogether. So offices would not get picked up in this. And then in terms of cost, we built it in so if you self-register the property, as in we don't have to come find you and you self-register, there's no registration fee. And then again, if your building is upkept and meeting maintenance standards, the monitoring fee doesn't apply either. So really, it's just a simple paperwork for those people that are keeping up with the standards of the ordinance. In terms of fees, we structured the fees based on the cost to provide services. So for a small site, you can see here that it's under an acre, the annual fee would be a total of $2,200. For a large site, that would be $6,600. But again, only, as you see highlighted here, is if you proactively register and you meet the requirements, these fees wouldn't apply. It's simple as filling out a form. We had a lot of questions about how it would roll out and how long it would take to build the ordinance. We have to build the software to make this work. We have to train staff, so there's going to be a lead time. What we've committed to the stakeholders is not going to be a surprise to you when this goes live. We want to make sure that everything's working. We want to make sure that they're aware. So we're committed to working with our partners through the Sunrise Marketplace and the Chamber and other avenues to try to continue to get the word out that this is coming and when it will go live. Feedback received, as you saw at the last meeting, we had received a letter of support from the Chamber of Commerce and Chasen. After the 28th, we did receive emails that were provided to the council from Gary Kniesel and Sean Stovall, which are in your packet. Director Huber and I met with Mr. Kniesel last week and a few property managers that he worked with and walked through the ordinance with him and heard his concerns and shared the ins and outs of the ordinance. With that, that's a quick summary of what we went over last week, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. We do recommend that you receive any public comment there might be, and then recommend that you would adopt the ordinance and continue it forward.
Thank you, Casey. Do we have any comments or questions from council members? Dr. Jana?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Any All right. And do we have any public comments on this item?
I have a question.
You want to?
Would you like,
We have one speaker here. And one- do you want to?
yeah, go ahead and come to the podium, please.
Thank you. My only question is, I'm Greg Hall, I live here. My name is Greg Hall, I live here, Citrus Heights. My only question on this is, do we have any data as far as what the vacancy rates are versus occupancy rates? In other words, you're making a big decision here, and it would be nice to kind of know what the impact will be. Because, a lot of the, Fair Oaks, Carmichael, Roseville, we all have different vacancy rates. So what's going to be the impact of this? Because you're raising the cost, it's kind of a big one. I mean, you're talking about raising costs. Do we really know? Do we have a ratio here that we can deal with? Do we know that?
Casey, do we have that data?
The vacancy data is a point in time. It's kind of a moving target all the time, and we have some buildings that are vacant for a really long time, and those become more problematic, and so that's what this is intended to.
It would be good to deal on a quarterly basis. I'm a real estate broker, by the way. I'm just asking. I'm just curious. It would be nice to have that data, wouldn't it? I mean, before we make a kind of a broad decision. I mean,
You have an estimate, Casey, on how many properties would fall into the fees category?
Into the fees category, I don't have a breakdown of that, but we do think there's about 50-ish vacant buildings that would potentially fall into this, if not more. Part of the process is to help identify those and get those registered so we can keep better track of that information.
And I can speak to general vacancy rates. You'll receive a more comprehensive update in the next agenda item about the Economic Development Work Plan. In the meantime, just to provide some summary metrics, retail vacancy is sitting at around 10%. We have seen progress in that space year over year, which is great, of about 2% off the top of my head. And then office vacancy is sitting between 9 and 10%. Those do sit plus or minus within local submarket and market averages with, of course, as council knows, great variability in the condition of real estate. So I want to orient this conversation in so much as I certainly appreciate the vacancy knowledge as a baseline, but this is a lot more about the condition of vacant buildings than how many there are necessarily.
Thank you for that. All right, are there any other public comments? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the second reading.
I'd like to make a comment really quick.
All right, Councilmember Schaefer, let's get your comment.
I've attended at least one of the community meetings. And I hear from a few of the property owners that they don't like this. But what the problem is they're not bringing anything forward of a better suggestion. If there's a concern that you have, make a suggestion of how we could better suit this ordinance to your needs. But we're just simply not hearing anything. And all we're hearing is no, 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 no. We have a problem where we have buildings, and I don't want to point out one specifically, but the roof has been caved in for like 5 years. These are blighted properties. These are properties that nobody is doing anything about, and this will address those issues. If you're taking good care of your property, this won't cost you a nickel. If you're letting your property go out of repair, one of the comments that I read today was 60 days isn't enough. And I would say that, okay, so I think that this isn't like We're not robots here. If you're working with us, we'll work with you. If you think 60 days is not enough time, you have to do paint and renovation and all this stuff, and you got a tenant, but you're not going to be able to do this within 60 days, I think we're human beings here. And if you go to our community development department and you don't get the answer you're looking for, this is a place to complain about that. So I don't want this to feel like it's draconian to anyone. This is simply a measure that we're taking to try to get these most of these properties are for out-of-state and sometimes out-of-country property owners who simply aren't addressing it. So this is a way to get their attention. And I don't like this. I don't like that we have to do this, but I think it's a reasonable measure. So that's my comment.
I have a comment.
All right, Vice Mayor.
And I also want to point out for folks who may have not realized this, the fact that we sent out, Casey, how many notices did we send out and how many responses did we get from property owners?
468, and I think we received 3 back.
So it's not that we're not trying to reach out. We've tried to be proactive and say, hey, let's connect, let's talk about this, and we received 3 responses. So we have to kind of move along, as Councilmember Schaefer said, in the process to really get these folks' attention, because some of these properties are a real problem.
Thank you for those comments. Any additional thoughts? All right,
Did I do
now
my
we will
motion?
entertain a motion.
Okay, I will make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2026 an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, adding Chapter 52 to the Citrus Heights Municipal Code to establish the Commercial Property Reoccupancy Program.
I second for motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, Casey. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar item number 10, one-year update 2025-2027 Economic Development Work Plan.
Good evening, Council. I'm Megan Huber, Director of Economic Development and Community Engagement, and along with me is Management Analyst Alicia Aguirre. And together, we are giving you a one-year update on the City of Citrus Heights Economic Development Work Plan. As a reminder, this was a result of a strategic objective that Council set in March of 2024 to prepare and present an economic development work plan to City Council, as well as establish a suite of incentives to attract sit-down dining and entertainment options. And while that is a short summary of what this effort is, with Council's vision and guidance, what this really is a navigational chart on how to advance and achieve economic development goals in Citrus Heights. So in February 2025, the Economic Development Work Plan was presented and unanimously approved. It includes 5 economic development focused categories, business attraction incentive program guidelines, a new program that was designed based on feedback from engagement that informed the plan, and that's called our Small Business Support Program. Inside of the plan itself, there are 70 implementation steps to advance economic development, and maybe most importantly, there are 18 sets of metrics to objectively measure results, because in Citrus Heights, we prioritize the actions with return on investment. In August of 2025, we presented an Economic Development Work Plan 6-month update, and now we're here before you to give a summary of the first year. So as I mentioned, the work plan overview, there's 5 categories, and these are really core practices in economic development. That includes business attraction and development services, business retention and expansion, small business support and innovation, marketing and placemaking, along with organizational culture. And this document was informed by multi-pronged community outreach, including a economic development flash vote to inform with resident feedback. It included interviews with our developer and business stakeholder and leader community, and it also included feedback from City Council on what we would like this next leg of economic development in Citrus Heights to look like. And not only was it informed by countless stakeholders, there was a lot of anticipation that we saw across social media. So not only are we paying attention in Citrus Heights as an organization, but we know our community is watching as well and anticipating economic development results. So this is the point of the program where we're going to share some of those with you and our community. First up, in the Attraction and Development Services segment, there was a variety of foundational work done to make sure we are creating a fertile ground so that when we plant seeds in Citrus Heights, they grow into prosperous businesses. First and foremost, we looked under the hood at our regulations, both the regulations that the city oversees directly, along with our development partners, because not all development services are in-house here in the city of Citrus Heights. So starting internally, there was a zoning code update where we lowered barriers to entry. Number one priority was on target industry segments. An example of that is we required a level of use permit for entertainment type businesses that we felt was maybe restrictive as we are identifying it as a target category. So the zoning code was changed to allow for more administrative approval, and that is a lot of jargon to really say what that means when we're effectively recruiting an entertainment use. We are saving time for them, we are saving money for them, and we are providing certainty to make sure they will call Citrus Heights home for their business. There were also building code updates made to make sure we're achieving that same level of economic development business climate. And we also worked with external partners. An example is Sacramento Metro Fire District to ensure the fire code lined up closely with the goals that we achieved in our zoning and building code, so that if there were requirements hiding in there that made it too cost restrictive for businesses, or maybe a requirement that hadn't been visited in a while that was inadvertently making it difficult for businesses to plant and grow in Citrus Heights, SMFD showed up extremely well for us to make sure we were setting a competitive business climate, and we adopted a fire code that had those economic development goals in mind. As you know, we made a change within the organization to increase bandwidth and capacity for this economic development work, retooling a community engagement role to be able to onboard an economic development role. And Alicia joined us in June, and her addition to the team is what allowed us to catapult this work even faster. She serves as a dedicated development liaison, working across departments to make sure we are achieving that competitive business climate and identifying problems before they happen to get businesses as open as quickly as possible. We also did an opportunity site inventory to make sure we knew our own real estate like the back of our hand. As you heard previously, the vacancy rates in Citrus Heights are performing well, and we do have priority sites that are great matches for our target industries. So we did a comprehensive assessment to make sure that those sites were as primed as much as possible so that we were able to effectively match make when we're doing business recruiting to real estate that fits that business's needs. Moving on to programs, as I mentioned, Citrus Heights offers some pretty unique, in my economic development practitioner opinion, economic development incentives and programs. The Business Attraction Incentive Program, as an example, is really designed for Citrus Heights' specific economic development goals. Along with that, the establishment of the Small Business Design Support Program was created in direct response to that business community feedback, where we heard sometimes it's really difficult for small businesses who are planting a business as an entrepreneur out of passion. They don't necessarily know what it takes from a development perspective to open a brick and mortar location. And that program provides resources and access to design professionals, so they're not, I was gonna say cracking open the phone book, but that might give away my generation a smidge. They're not Googling for design professionals. We are here to help at the outset immediately to connect them. And then for quite some time, Citrus Heights has offered facade improvement programs, sign improvement programs, and an economic development support fund that's really nimble in its use to be able to provide for marketing, events, and business attraction as well. Finally, most importantly, retooling the department and implementing this work plan for economic development really allowed us to increase our capacity and bandwidth for recruiting, direct business recruitment. And we do that in a variety of ways. We do that through trade shows. We do that through direct prospecting. We do that through monitoring the news and frequent outreach to businesses that we identify are looking for a new home. We also do that through effective networking by creating a referral system of development ecosystem partners. So that could be property owners, that could be developers, that's also property managers, that's all of our commercial brokers, that's even design professionals. Architects get calls from businesses still looking for sites, and it's important for all of those stakeholders to know that Citrus Heights is open for business and has great real estate available. Thank you.
That's so good.
I appreciate that. So giving a peek a little bit more behind the curtain, I want to be careful not to give away competitive or proprietary information as it relates to Citrus Heights business recruitment, but I also want to give some color to what our recruitment looks like. You can see on the right some photos that represent some of our priority sites where we have both supported development activity and generated business recruitment activity ourselves. Our focus still as a really scrappy team is to make sure that we're tracking on these high priority commercial sites, the ones that we know from that site inventory are ready to go and meet business needs, a good match for them to open as quickly as possible. We also respond to business and site inquiries and share market information. We onboarded Placer AI, which is a data analytics tool that we've seen great success. Alicia, to her credit, I would say, is an honorary super user already, and it's a pretty complicated platform. But it provides valuable information not only to us, but to prospective businesses who are looking. It allows us to speak to our market even more intelligently and, most importantly, oriented in data. So we share a lot of market information. And as I mentioned before, one of the most important parts of what we do is to coordinate and clarify development processes when interest emerges. It's one thing to matchmake and find a suitable site, but certainly once you start digging deeper, there are a lot of details and nuance and a lot of different development categories of checking boxes to get to a point where a business can in fact open. So time intensive, but also well worth the effort, the sweat equity. So as a reminder, some of the target business categories inside of the Economic Development Work Plan and the categories that we are working on matchmaking all the time to some of the photos that you see on the right include entertainment and experiential concepts, grocery and specialty food retail, along with small business operators. And I want to underscore this one because we know that small business is what creates neighborhood vibrancy on our commercial corridors. Those are the places that give our community character, that bring out not only residents, but visitors as well. So you heard a brief summary of what current vacancy rate looks like. We are, as I mentioned, tracking well and competitive as it relates to submarket and major market conditions, again, highly related to the condition and availability of commercial real estate. It's very individualistic for each community. Thank you so much. Can you come to every meeting? So, as I mentioned, data really matters, and I thought it would be really, really fun to give you a sneak peek into some of the data that we play with all the time. This is a snap that I shared with our chamber leadership program of a report that we can pull that shows the highest visited restaurants in Citrus Heights by foot traffic. So here is what that looks like. This report from Placer AI shows the top visited restaurant in Citrus Heights is Texas Roadhouse, followed by Buffalo Wild Wings, Olive Garden, Applebee's, and along the list goes. An example of how this data can be used is number one, to show the strong restaurant traffic and ecosystem in general in the Citrus Heights market. That's important both from a consumer perspective, seeing what people like. It's also very important from a workforce perspective. Accommodation and food services is one of the top 5 markets by volume in Citrus Heights, which speaks to a very strong workforce. So what this report could essentially say to a potential incoming restaurant is there is a readily available workforce.
Is this a 1-year number or 1 month?
Yes, at the bottom you can see it measures from October 1st, 24 to,
I can't see that.
apologies, from October 24 to September 25.
Okay.
So that's one example. It's, yes.
Megan, I'm really surprised I don't see El Tapatio on here.
We were too.
I mean, every time I go in there, it's crazy busy.
It is. It is.
And I really, El Tapatio is doing less business than Red Lobster?
Not indicative of business. Not indicative of business. Great point. This is by total visits. There are other metric categories in terms of business volume, group business, right? Catering, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I'm surprised Taco Bell isn't there.
This does not include quick service drive-throughs. Oh. That is a different category of restaurant. We could probably spend a whole presentation on restaurant categories. Moving on, this is just an example of how the program that City Council approved, the Design Support Fund, was so helpful to a business that was coming because as Alicia and I both talked to them, they were paralyzed on how to approach development services, and the clock was ticking to get their doors open. A finite and limited amount of time and money, and if they didn't have that ready support, it could really throw them off immediately and put them at risk. So grateful to City Council for its approval and implementation. And moving on, I'll pass it to Alicia.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Alicia, I'm an analyst with the Economic Development and Community Engagement Department. As Megan mentioned, we have a suite of business support programs, and we got to use the Sign Improvement Grant to support PSM Monuments in their expansion. They're located along Auburn Boulevard, and I like to pause and point out that it's very exciting when a business outgrows their space and then decides to relocate within the same city. So they're just a little further south on Auburn Boulevard. And through the Sign Improvement Grant, they were able to get a really nice sign up, and you can see it if you drive by. Also, along the work that we do in business retention, we know that public safety is super important to making sure that our businesses feel safe and that they feel supported. So the Business Safety Hub was launched in summer of last year, and it hosts on our website a plethora of resources, including crime prevention through environmental design resources, how to connect with our problem-oriented policing unit, and resources for commercial tenants, property owners about landscaping and lighting and how to be preventative about crime at your location. We also promote that information through our business bulletin, and Another cross-departmental, so that was a good partnership with our police department. Another cross-departmental project that we got to collaborate with both PD and our community development department was the commercial property reoccupancy ordinance, which you just heard about, providing an economic development lens to what otherwise is a regulatory tool. You just heard about it, lots of focus on flexibility and exemptions, and a huge focus on reoccupancy. A big part of maintaining our finger on the pulse of our business community is our business retention visits and our site visits. The plan called for 50 site visits, and I'm pleased to report that we met that metric. And we had a very cool partnership with the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce and an Auburn Boulevard Business Champion. So we got to come alongside them for a business walk and answer any questions proactively about construction and point to just providing information about timeline and then hearing out any concerns that may exist. Next slide. Also informing how our programming aligns, and a big part of business retention is our annual survey. So this opened in October of last year, and we engaged over 50 businesses. Most of the businesses that participated were small businesses, and about, I want to say, about 20% of them have been operating in Citrus Heights for over 20 years. One of the things that we wanted to hear more about is their satisfaction rate. We wanted a metric and a baseline metric, and we received it. We got a rating of 3.5 out of 5 on business satisfaction. So that kind of lets us know where we stand. And we also, another thing we set out to understand was what topic was of interest for technical assistance. And we heard overwhelmingly that the area that our businesses are interested in hearing about, learning more about, and getting some support on is marketing and social media. So we get to go back and realign our programs with what we hear. And then when asked about why Citrus Heights, why I choose to operate in Citrus Heights, the most cited strength was the local customer base. Something affirming that we heard from those businesses that did take this survey is that 89% of them expect staffing to stay the same, and only about, I think, around 10% of them expect otherwise. A huge part of the work plan also surrounds small business support. One of the metrics is engaging more small businesses in events. And then through our Economic Development Support Fund, we were able to support a business-led event. So Smash Sacramento at their site hosted a fall event, and they brought in over 400 attendees throughout the day. It was an all-day event around Halloween. And they supported provided a platform for 25 small business pop-up vendors, and that included food vendors and craft vendors. So it was great to be able to support that and increase the engagement of our small businesses and give them a platform to be at. And earlier I mentioned our site visits, but sometimes those site visits, we do our best to provide technical assistance to our businesses in Citrus Heights. So sometimes in those site visits, either needs will arise or come to our attention, or sometimes it happens more organically through a business that reaches out. But sometimes that technical assistance looks like either clarifying an internal process or connecting to, I mentioned earlier, our POP unit. Other times it looks like connecting them to an external subject matter expert. I can give a few examples of what that's looked like in the past. We've had businesses that are looking for some lending for their startup costs, or maybe they're not quite there yet and they're looking for somebody that can support them in outlining their projections so that they can be loan ready. In those cases, we can connect them to our partners like the Small Business Development Center and get them matched with some technical assistance. Another support tool that we have is our business toolkits. So these include a letter from our department, contact information for our department as well as other city departments, and it also includes information about economic development programs from our partners. So SMUD's seed program for vendors to get registered as a small business vendor, Sacramento Sewer District's Confluence program, and the Small Business Development Center and their resource and workshops that they have available. We've mailed over 200 of those since June. Our Love Local program is growing, and we're very excited to share more about that, but right now I'll highlight how some of our existing initiatives are supporting small businesses. So the campaign that supported Auburn Boulevard businesses during construction, or during Phase 2 construction, highlighted over 20 businesses on our social media platforms. And more than just visibility, a key messaging in that campaign was visibility and reminding our residents and the community that those businesses are open during construction. They also received very tailored marketing material from the consultant that worked on that project so that they can continue marketing their business beyond just the video and having it shared on our platform. We also launched the Business of Distinction Award. So during State of the City last year, we got to recognize Byers Gym as the inaugural Business of Distinction for the Civic Heights Award. And just last week, we closed nominations for the Legacy Business, and we look forward to presenting a proclamation to the winner there at a March City Council meeting. And then, not too long ago, you heard from my colleague Marissa Brown. She provided a very robust communications update, shared that we're using all of our social media platforms to their fullest potential to promote our Citrus Heights businesses. You heard about the Love Local campaign, but the opportunity to be promoted on our social media and our newsletter is available to all Citrus Heights businesses. So a business highlights link exists on the Love Local website. Businesses can provide contact information. They can even upload their own material, photos and videos should they choose to, but our team also goes out and gets content if they don't have any. And then we share it on our social media platforms. During the winter holidays, we had a very strategic mini campaign. It kicked off on Small Business Saturday, and the messaging was really to consumers and our residents, reminding them the big impact that they can have if they choose to shop local during the holidays. And there were some very fun gift guides included as a part of that, just to spark some inspiration and hope that people consider shopping locally for their gifts. And I mentioned earlier our Love Local website, but that hosts the business highlight link I was talking about, as well as our economic development work plan. And Business of Distinction voting and nominations happens through there. We have a number of newsletters. We have our community newsletter, which you know about, and we highlight our businesses through there. But then we also have our business bulletin, which our audience there is business owners, and they register for that or subscribe to that when they apply for a business license. So the content that's on there is a little more curated to them. We can highlight our business safety hub and remind them of the business support programs that are available. And new to our newsletter family is the commercial roundup. So the audience there are our commercial real estate professionals. We remind them of the incentives available to help close deals, and just remind them that there are tools in our toolkit that we can support, as Megan said, to make the Citrus Heights ground as fertile as possible, and remind them that Citrus Heights is the place to do business.
Another aspect of the marketing category of the Economic Development Work Plan is placemaking. We set a goal of 3 placemaking projects per year, and these can be facilitated, or rather, the city can partner with property owners, business owners, and businesses with those economic development grant programs that had been mentioned previously. So as an example, using our Activate Auburn facade improvement program, we provided a matching grant that helped the property owner, to the photo on the left, construct a patio that now serves multiple businesses, increases square footage to accommodate multiple patrons, and frankly, glows up the corner quite a bit. Another example of grant usage is on the right with a mural installation. That was a history and arts grant, but I want to pause and make sure council knows that we can also use the Economic Development Support Fund if the mural is for a business. So that's how we work around here. We find something, we make it match because it fits a goal that we set for ourselves. Again, we have 3 placemaking projects to implement per year, and we're always looking for property owners and businesses interested in making something happen with us. And finally, we would be doing a disservice to this campaign if we didn't give it its own slide. It has so much time and love and sweat equity from staff and so much involvement and support from the Citrus Heights business community, along with being so well received from our social media following. Just a quick roundup of what the Love Local program suite looks like here. And I want to connect the dots really quick on why we are spending time here, why we have spent so much time here is because, as you saw in the business survey results that Alicia provided, marketing and promotional support was the #1 need and priority for Citrus Heights businesses. So we get the feedback, we respond to the feedback, and we provide value. And that's really what this is doing. So the Love Local campaign, what it looks like, it started in 2020 as a business recovery campaign. So folks knew that Citrus Heights businesses were still open, and the audience was all businesses in Citrus Heights. You can see Love Local decals all around town. We have a great partnership with our Chamber of Commerce. Their ambassadors take out a letter from the mayor that's updated every year with service, along with a decal, and it has information on how a business can participate in Love Local and underscore how supportive the city is of supporting businesses. And then it was relaunched and revamped with the Auburn Boulevard marketing support that Alicia shared, that was launched in March of 25 and throughout the year. And she also talked about the business highlight interest form. There is a dedicated website where businesses can express an interest. I have to say that's been really fun for us as staff as well, because there are so many cool businesses hiding in plain sight. I think we have one coming up. Can we give a preview? Am I allowed to share? So as an example of one business that we didn't know about, that we were so excited and tickled to get to know, and they're sharing soon, they're scheduled, is a bonsai business off of Old Auburn. There's a master bonsai grower, and you'll see it on the city's social media soon. So that's the kind of things, those are what we want to know about. It's impossible for us as 3 Citrus Heights champions to know about everything, and we need our community to share, which is why things like that highlight form are so important. We'll take any referral we can get because we love this stuff. So rounding it out, you also heard about the Business of Distinction Award Program along with those seasonal campaigns. And I want to highlight Alicia's work at the bottom. You can see the seasonal campaigns where she's matched businesses with holiday fun. So as an example, where to get great Christmas gifts or winter holiday gifts in Citrus Heights, or how to spend your Valentine's Day via an activity, or where to get flowers for your sweetheart. And it's been really fun, and thanks, Alicia, for your creativity. The last category is organizational culture, because at the outset, when we established this work plan, we set some really lofty goals. And like any organization, we have a finite amount of bandwidth and time and resources. So it's important that we optimize our organizational culture so that there are no barriers to entry to achieving these economic development goals. Examples of what that's looked like over the course of the last year are organizational Placer AI trainings. So all departments and staff know what a powerful tool that is for use. We did apply an economic development lens to the commercial property reoccupancy program. Economic development staff walked alongside community development staff and police department staff every step of the program design to make sure we are taking into account all effects, consequences, and benefits to our business community and how to design the program in the most positive and consensus-building way possible. We also supported a really large regional event, the Livability Summit, through an economic development engagement panel and a chamber partnership to co-host a business mixer. As council knows, that's co-sponsored by the Sacramento Area Council of Governments along with Valley Vision, two very, very important regional organizations to advance Sacramento region goals. And they convene all sorts of leadership in anything that they do. And we brought that leadership to Citrus Heights and showed them what economic development looks like here, along with how we can throw a really good party and make folks feel welcome. And then finally, there is great ongoing collaboration and insight sharing with chamber leadership, Citrus Heights. So economic development, it takes everyone certainly internally. We are not the only economic developers in the organization. All of City of Citrus Heights are economic developers because everything is economic development, one way or the other. Past that, it's very important that everyone knows that all of community are economic developers. It's not the city organization alone to achieve these goals. We need ambassadors and champions, folks that sing Citrus Heights praises from the rooftops, folks that support small businesses, and folks that invest in Citrus Heights. And one of the places that we can find those champions and leaders is in the Chamber's Leadership Citrus Heights programs. And the Chamber's given us an opportunity to educate, collaborate, and foster leadership for the next generation of Citrus Heights. And pulling on a final thread here, that was in part funded and approved by council via an economic development support grant. So coming up, to give you an idea of what some next implementation steps look like, there is a super adorable Valentine's Day Shop local campaign coming up and currently implemented. If you haven't liked and shared yet on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, please do. Additionally, there'll be a Spring Shopping Love Local campaign in March. As Alicia mentioned, the next round of our Business of Distinction. There is direct business recruitment happening at the ICSC Monterey Trade Show in March. We're partnering with our chamber on a Love Local scholarship. So we look for community feedback all of the time, not just when we're writing and implementing a work plan. And one of the things that we heard from our chamber is a way that we can increase collaboration, especially with small and new businesses, is to offer a scholarship for their first year of chamber membership, to create that support system and give them the network of Citrus Heights entrepreneurs so that, number one, they're not alone. Number two, they understand what a great business community Citrus Heights is. And number three, we increase the probability of retaining that business. So exponential reasons to do it, and we're looking forward to partnering with the chamber on it. We are considering it a pilot program. We'll do it for a year and then bring back the results to council. Continued business retention and outreach visits, along with a second leg of Love Local promo videos coming up. There is an additional ICSC trade show in Las Vegas for business attraction. That is an international show. It takes up the entire Las Vegas Convention Center and a lot of opportunity there. There is also some preliminary planning for a potential chamber-city collaboration on a business expo. So we'll keep council updated on that as well, along with a Citrus Heights relocation guide. That would be a chamber-led project, and then we are staying in the loop on what support can look like, because we've heard council's feedback on it's important to promote Citrus Heights to residents, businesses, and visitors, but also potential residents, businesses, and visitors, and this is a potential channel to make that happen. And then we currently have a request for proposal out, looking for a potential partner that can help us meet those small business needs of marketing and promotion by offering technical assistance workshops directly from city resources. So more to come on that as well. And that brings us to the end of the presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Wow, that was a lot. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and we appreciate, your ever-present team. Because I hang out at a lot of chamber events, I see you or your team representing the city aspect of economic development really well to our business owners, and thank you very much for this concentrated effort. I love seeing I feel like it's a A-team reference. I love seeing a plan come together. And so I really, really appreciate the efforts you put in, especially this past year, with not only building the plan, but executing excellently on the plan. So thank you. All right, and I know this is not a motion, but a point for information, so thank you very much. But we do have one more item, folks. Before we get to that item, I do want to point out that we always have opportunity to have youth and introduce youth who attend our meetings, whether it's because they are working on an assignment, have a requirement, or whatnot. And I hope that I'm not stepping on any of your efforts, Amy, but I would like to introduce the youth who are in our chambers tonight. If you'd like to come up and simply say your name and the school you're representing tonight, we would love to see and hear from you. Come on out.
Don't be shy.
Don't worry, the other attendees have done the same thing, so don't worry about it. It's easy. Your name and your school.
My name is Wally, and we're here for representing our Center High School.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you, welcome. Come on over.
My name is Yaroslav Denisenko, and I'm also from the Center High School.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
My name is Carl Rivera, and I also go to Center High School.
All right, thank you, welcome.
My name is Joseph Satur, and I also go to Center High School.
Thank you.
My name is Brian DeJong, and I also represent Center High School.
All right, thank
Welcome.
you. Not to up the ante, but last time we had a cohort from your same school, and they actually participated in public comment. So if you want to tell your friends about participation, not that you get extra points, but we love it when we hear from our youth partners. So thank you for being here. All right, Amy, let's have your item tonight.
The next item is regular calendar item number 11, presentation of findings and recommendations for a youth advisory commission or youth advisory liaison. The recommendation is to receive a presentation on findings and consider adoption of a resolution establishing a youth advisory commission.
All right, good evening, Mayor and City Council, Amy Van, City Clerk. And as was stated, I will be presenting the findings and recommendations of a Youth Advisory Commission or liaison. In the council, may recall at the March 26, 2025 strategic planning session, the City Council established a strategic objective focused on youth civic engagement and specifically to assess the establishment of an advisory commission or youth advisory liaison to the council and present those findings. So the first option that staff evaluated was a youth advisory commission that would serve as a voice for the youth of Citrus Heights to identify their unmet needs. The commission would be comprised of 13 Citrus Heights students entering grades 8 through 12, and they would be a resident of the city of Citrus Heights. Meetings would be held once a month during the school year, September through May, and these students would serve a one-year term on the commission, but they would be eligible to be appointed to a second term with a maximum of a 2-year term. The Youth Commission would act in an advisory capacity to the City Council and staff on policies, programs, and initiatives impacting youth, provide recommendations to enhance youth engagement and civic life and community development, participate in community projects and volunteer at city events, identify and propose youth-led initiatives aligned with city priorities, and then come to City Council and provide an annual report summarizing their activities, recommendations, and accomplishments. The second option that staff evaluated was a youth advisory liaison to the city council. And some municipalities have developed this position, generally open to junior and senior high school students. They attend regularly scheduled city council meetings and would have a seat at the dais along with the city council to allow them to participate in discussions when the city council is deliberating on agenda items. Some municipalities have allowed them to have a non-binding vote. Some cities have also, due to the time commitments of a youth liaison, have offered a monthly stipend or a scholarship opportunity for their participation. While this option would engage our local youth, one liaison really kind of limits the full representation of the diversity of youth experiences across Citrus Heights. So therefore, our recommendation is to adopt a resolution establishing a youth advisory commission. And if the city council decides to move forward with this, the city clerk's office would develop an application process, conduct outreach to the schools, social media, et cetera, then work with the city council's Education 2x2 committee to review the applications to recommend members to the full city council for approval. And then the first commission meeting would be held in September of 2026. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions that the city council may have.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Well, thank you. We're just, former mayor and I were just thinking about how many schools we have. So we have Sylvan Junior High that has 8th graders. We have Lycan K through 8, 8th graders. We have Woodside K through 8. And then we have the high schools.
Yeah, and we also have Kingswood, that is a K through. Did you
Kingswood
already say
also goes through 8th grade?
Mm-hmm.
So
And, I'm sorry.
how do we conduct the outreach to them?
We would definitely reach out to all of the schools, working with the San Juan Unified School District to, share this information, whether it's, being able to come on campus and share this with the students. We would also look to, we know we have other students attending other schools, but they're residents of Citrus Heights, so engaging those students, as well as those that may be homeschooled or attend an alternative charter school or other such private school to work with them. So it would be marketing this with working with our community engagement division to really help spread the word through our website, going to various organizations and finding those and spreading the word.
I'd like to ask the students who are here, as long as they're here, does this interest any of you folks to be on an advisory council or a committee for,
If they live in Citrus Heights.
yeah, as long as you live in Citrus Heights, of course. But would that be something of interest to you? Okay. Just asking. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
I kind of had a question. So are we going to say so much from each school, or are you just going to have broadly? I kind of thought that they would say, counting all the 8th graders, so if you had one from at least to represent each school, then they go back to their classmates and say, hey, I participated, and then they stir up interest for the following year because they're only good for 1 year. So I was just wondering if we, in our policies, don't say we got to have at least a diversity of all the particular schools. Maybe the teachers at the schools would recommend students, and that the student might be shy to apply, but the teacher or the guidance counselor, whoever they have over there, some of the professors that teach the classes that send them over here say, that kid be really good at this, and recommend them. So we want to have some recommendations from in conjunction with our partnership with San Juan, so we can work together. And then our education committee, when they do their 2x2, can converse with the board members of that are on the 2x2 from San Juan that serve Citrus Heights. So we have 3 board members from San Juan that meet with the 2 board members of us, and that they talk about it. I don't know, it seems to me that could be on their agenda as well, and I just like to see, make sure that our policy includes a diverse across
I agree with
all
that.
the schools.
Yeah, I think we should endeavor to have as much school participation as possible, in as much as we have interest, but we have to encourage interest too. So I think if our intention is to have at least each qualifying school recommend a student or students
Yeah.
to apply, that would be ideal, I think, to have good representation from our.
And to
from our-
share that with the education committee 2x2 on their side, their 3 board members that attend the 2 of us. And so that way they all, because sometimes the students there, and they don't realize that they want to be here until they're recommended. And it'd be nice when they come, to come with a recommendation letter from the school or from whoever is their, or if they're homeschooled, whoever their collaborative person is that recommends them, so that we know. Anyway, I think it's exciting, because we've been wanting to do this for a long time. We're finally getting to it. I think it's exciting opportunity for kids.
Absolutely. Any,
Yes, there is a resolution for the city council to
I'd
consider.
like to make a motion.
oh, we have one more comment. Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor. I am fine to move on with the motion. I'm just excited about the idea in general, and I echo everything that's been said so far, too. So I say let's do committee.
All right, we have a motion.
Okay, I'd
Go
like
ahead.
to move that we adopt a resolution establishing a youth advisory commission.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the Youth Advisory Commission. I know you were looking specifically for the specific type. And do I have those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We are going to establish a Youth Advisory Commission. I'm very, very excited about that. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar item number 12, an ordinance to repeal Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 5, Construction Board of Appeals, and add Chapter 18, Article 31, Building Code Board of Appeals. The recommendation is to introduce for a first reading, read by title only, and waive the first full reading of the ordinance, repealing Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 5, and adding Chapter 18, Article 31, Building Code Board of Appeals.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. Amy Van, City Clerk, and tonight joining me is Chief Building Official Joe Cuff. And in January of 2025, 2 members of the council requested that staff bring forward amendments to the municipal code to modify the city's Construction Board of Appeals. And council may recall that the city experiences challenges with recruitment on this particular board due to the technical nature of the board. So we're here tonight to present those proposed changes to the new municipal code. So the current Construction Board of Appeals is comprised of 5 public members who are qualified by experience and training and appointed to 4-year terms. The board only meets when there is an appeal to decide a decision of an order, decision or determination made by the building official. And since, over the city's 29 years of incorporation, this board has met 11 times, with 10 of those times meetings having perfunctory board items, and only 1 of those meetings was an actual appeal. So in response to some challenges with the recruitment, staff is proposing amendments to the municipal code to transition the Board of Appeals to a board of board comprised of 3 chief building officials with 2 alternates, and the chief building officials would be from neighboring jurisdictions. And this process ensures the board is comprised of individuals with the technical expertise to consider the appeals. It also provides the city with flexibility in always having somebody trained and available to hear these cases. A list of the accepted board members would be kept on file in the city clerk's office, and members would be called upon in successive order by the city clerk when they are needed for an appeal. And we also propose moving this to Chapter 18 to align with the city's current building codes and regulations. And with that, the recommendation is to introduce for our first reading an ordinance that would amend the municipal code to change the composition of the Construction Board of Appeals. And we are happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
All right, do we have questions, comments?
Can you go back one, okay, so is this proposal to take 3 chief building officials from neighboring jurisdictions?
Correct.
What do other jurisdictions do?
It's a mixture. Some are still using public members, and then you're finding it difficult to get people to sit on the board, which has been a common problem for years. A lot of the new jurisdictions, some of the closer jurisdictions have transitioned to this type of appeal board where it's professionals from other jurisdictions step in, so there's no conflict with the jurisdiction that they're making an appeal in. So this is becoming more and more common, actually
So is it the
nationwide.
same 3 for Citrus Heights, and then you same 3 go over to Rancho?
It can be a mixture. Right now, as a member of the local building officials group, we have buy-in from a number of jurisdictions. So as we need people, we can call them in. If they have no availability, we have alternates that can step in.
Okay, so you're kind of quasi-jurisdictional, whatever they are, so you can make decisions on, so this is for what, people who get upset about being their permit is not,
It can be. It's mostly based on whether they agree with a code interpretation
oh, okay.
or a material use. If they find that they can provide a material that's essentially equivalent to something that the building code allows, they can go to an appeal and say, I have this material that will work just as well, and if they can show cause, then it can be allowed.
So is the process for them in this same code? Do they have
Yes.
a process, so they pay a fee for this?
There's a fee, there's a process,
And
there's
application and all
rules
that.
and membership and everything.
Okay.
Do other jurisdictions have more activity? We had one case in 29 years. Is this just because we're a built-out city, we just don't have that much construction issues? Or like this Folsom, who's, do they have more activity on this type of board?
Well, I like to think it's because we're really good with our community and they don't have any issues with how we do things.
Right.
Amen to that.
It tends to be more prevalent in larger jurisdictions. I know Sacramento County has quite a few, City of Sacramento does. But smaller jurisdictions tend to not get as many because they usually have more flexibility to work with people. Larger jurisdictions, it's harder for them to focus on the community they serve. They have to look at a broader group, so it's a little tougher. But it's a little bit all over the place depending on which jurisdiction you're in. Some have more, some have the same amount.
I know she's not here anymore, but I will say some of that has to do with Susan, who was terrific with the public and worked with you, because I think we had to renew our building permit many times. And so she was very good at getting people to understand what they had to do.
Our staff is very good
I
about
know.
working with our community and our citizens to make sure that they're getting the service that we're here to provide.
So I think that's why we haven't had any appeals.
Any
Okay.
other comments? All right, do I have a motion on this item?
It's interesting.
Advance one more slide.
Yep, go for, yeah, bagel.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Turn on your-
Councilmember Schaefer, could you please turn on your microphone so that we...
Thank you.
There you go.
I'd like to make a motion, we introduce the first reading, read by title only, and waive the first full reading of ordinance number 2026, and an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, California, repealing Chapter 2, Article 4, Division 5, Construction Board of Appeals, and adding Chapter 18, Article 31, Building Code Board of Appeals, and Citrus Heights Code relating to buildings and building regulations.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item is department reports. There are none. So next item is city manager items.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Ash Finney, your city manager. I do have a few updates for you here tonight. Advance the next slide, please. First, we have our Gateway Activation Project. We do have a mitigated negative declaration out for public review, and maybe some might ask, what is that? We have the California Environmental Quality Act that we have to analyze projects to analyze any kind of environmental impacts. These could be traffic impacts, it could be traffic or impacts on biological species, air quality, so on and so forth. So there's a whole host of impacts that you evaluate. This is an example of one of the documents that's prepared in accordance with that act. This is a mitigated negative declaration. So basically, if there is a impact of environmental in nature, that it can be overcome through mitigation. And so we have that document prepared for those that may be interested in this. There's a review and comment period that runs February 16th through March 19th. You can see a link to where you can find that document. And we've been having community meetings on the Gateway Activation Project, which is a trail project. And that will be occurring the next public meeting on that is Thursday, March 5th. And that is during the public comment time on this mitigated negative declaration. So that would be another opportunity for someone to come and make an in-person comment as well. And that'll be at Big Oak Mobile Home Park at 8300 Old Auburn Road. And then we had some good news. We received a congressional appropriation from Congressman Ami Bera's office, and it's $500,000 to continue the good work that our General Services Department has been doing on San Juan Avenue. We had funding that had come forward for Phase 1. Now we have Phase 2 of the project that Citrus Heights has received $500,000 for, and that improves safety and accessibility along San Juan. It's actually a highly used bus route. You see people standing sometimes, on the edge of the road at a bus stop, and there's really, no sidewalk. These improvements that are being put underway bring sidewalks, they bring bike lanes, and you see those from San Juan up to Chesaling right now, and we're going to continue that, and the vision is to bring that all the way up to Greenback. So we thank the congressman for $500,000 towards that project. And then City Hall will be closed in observance of President's Day on Monday, February 16th, and reopening on the 17th. And that concludes my comments.
Well, thank you, Ash. We absolutely appreciate the $500,000 appropriation, and that is wonderful news, so thank you on that account. And next item, please.
Next item is items requested by council members, future agenda items.
Okay, do we have any ideas, questions, requests?
Everybody should have a memorable Valentine's Day. Hug your honey, hug your pet, hug a tree. Have a good day.
All right, and with that sentiment, we are adjourned. Thank you.